guys. Welcome back to Same Teams, Different Jerseys. You have the host and my husband, Damian. And then you've got the co-host and best friend, Hannah. And then, of course, you've got your editor-in-chief and Damian's wife, myself, Sonia. This week, we're going to talk a little bit more about parenting and kids and how kind of our society has curved the way that we have to interact with our kids.
Okay. That sounds like fun because this is going to probably be a hot topic for at what age do you think your child, and we're talking from the minute they come out of the vajayjay to the minute they move out of the home. We're talking 0 to 18. When do you
He disappeared, right?
Yeah.
We're just having all time. So,
oh my God.
Off subject, it took us like 30 minutes just to get booted up because her Wi-Fi adapter just decided to
Stop working.
Uninstall. Yeah. It just decided to not fucking be there. She opened up her laptop and it just wasn't there. And if you could see the desk right off to the side of her mic there, that's where her laptop gets set when she shuts it down. And it doesn't move. Like
God. I think this is just the past 2 weeks have been interesting when it comes to us trying to make our episodes. Last week it was Damian who got disconnected. His computer crashed.
No, last week was you. The week before was
week,
me.
Yeah,
the week. Okay, so 2 weeks ago was you. Last week was me. My computer just decided to have a hiccup, I guess. And today we have Sonia's internet, and you just decided to disappear for no reason.
Yeah. Although I think what we noticed is in the recording, we don't go anywhere.
Really?
Like it continuously uploads. There's a little thing right here that says now it's usually at 99% uploaded. Right now it's at 7. But anyways.
Okay, so what age?
Off subject. So did you at least hear what I said?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So
from 0 to 18.
To 18, moving out of the house. Because this is pretty much a hot topic when it comes to parents.
Exposed though is what?
Like when should
sitting down and
like when should they have the birds and the bees topic?
Yes.
Or like when should we dive deep?
We're talking well, see, and I think birds and the bees is still diving deep. When should you introduce that there is a penis, it goes in a vagina? We're not talking like hanging from the ceiling, BDSM and all that, but the in-depth
the biological
there's different positions. Men and women do have sex, they get naked, the penis goes in the vagina. At what age? Because I will tell you right now that in Minnesota at 2nd grade, it's in the school curriculum that in 2nd grade, which is how old? 6? They need to know.
No, it's like
5th grade is 7 or 8. They need to know what vaginal, oral, and anal sex is.
No. Absolutely not.
That's in the curriculum. They need to know that.
Don't get me wrong. I think that it was later back when like we were kids, our parents were kids and stuff, because there used to be a time where the only way you could get anything sex related, like pornography and stuff like that, like you had to go to a store. You had to go find the magazines. You had to go find the DVDs. Whereas now, like, your child has a fucking computer in their pocket at the age of like 8.
Yeah.
That has all the porn in the world on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think 6th grade. I think 6th grade is a good birds and bees talk.
So what age is that? Because I mean,
so 6th grade is 11, 11, 12.
11 to 12.
Okay, so
and that's actually on the research that I have done, 11 and 12 is late, technically. But that's just like I'm saying that for like school. If school is going to introduce sex education, the minimum should be 6th grade.
See, and I agree with that to a point, but I think sex ed was kind of taught to me in 5th grade. Like I think I was like 10 or 11. So I never thought about it until I got old enough to realize that kids aren't mature enough. And maybe that's the thing, like, I feel like the kids nowadays are very immature compared to, like,
Yeah,
what we
I could
were.
I could tell you right now, like, my youngest, if he was to go through sex ed right now, like,
It would blow his mind.
It'd be all
yes.
giggles and
Not
jokes
not
and
necessarily that, like, he's curious, but you would have to break things down to the simplest.
mhm.
I think that's also because of his disabilities, but, like, you would have to break stuff down to the simplest, basic anatomical scenario situation in order for him to understand. And then not only that, like, he is very much a visual learner. So if you're not showing him visuals of what it is you're talking about, he's still he's still gonna have questions. He's still gonna be curious.
I think
So,
5th grade, so I think, like, 10, right, is a good, like, "Hey, you're gonna get your period," you know, 'cause that the period conversation you should be having about 9, right? Um, Towards the back end of 9, and so I think that at 10 is a good time to have that conversation of, like, the in-depth of, like, "Hey, now you're on your period," like, now there's that potential for you to have a baby, have, like, the basic conversation of, like, if how this is how babies are made, and you have that very, very simple conversation with them, right? And then as they get 11, 12, then you have, like, the more in-depth of, like first of all, I don't think a school needs to be teaching kids oral sex or anal. Like,
He No, I
that's
think that's
asinine
that's
to
extreme.
me.
Bu but I just looked it up real quick from Congress. Um, First of all, at 10 years old, there were about 1,700, so almost 2,000. 2,000 to 12-year-old having babies.
Excuse me?
That two th in America, we're not talking worldwide, we're talking in America. Doot. Here we go. Um, yeah, it's according
And this is, like,
to
a recent study?
2023.
Holy crap.
I'll put you this way, I typed in just to see how many 10-year-olds get, and the first thing that popped up, autofill, was "get pregnant in the US." It is that searched.
pregnancies among 10-year-olds in the US are extremely rare, with data typically grouped for ages 10 to 14. In 2023, there were 1,766 total births for all girls under 15, representing a birth rate of only zero point 0.2 per 1,000 girls in that are 10 to 14 age range.
That's that's still a lot in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like that number should be like
1,
1 to 5.
and they should all be rapes. Not to be gross about it, but every one of them should be a rape.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
I find it
eh,
hard to believe that, like, a 10 to 14-year-old, well, 14 I could believe, but, like, a 10-year-old, I find it hard to believe that a 10-year-old is just willingly going out and
Having sex?
having sex.
Now, also, 10-year-old boys can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't produce sperm yet.
So that means those 10-year-olds that are getting pregnant are not having sex with. It's not like a 10-year-old and a 10-year-old is sitting there being stupid and going like, "Let's play doctor." It's a 10-year-old and somebody that's 13 and over.
Yeah, that's weird.
So you could say that they're all
Yeah, that feels
rapes.
gross.
I mean, you
But
could,
even if you classify that as only rapes, that's a lot.
Yep.
and if you go to the so in the 60s,
It was
teenage
real
preg
high.
That's
it's
18 to 19 though,
yeah, it's
and it's
actually
going
gone.
down.
So if you go to the 15 to 17, which is the yellow one, it actually
I mean,
hasn't
That
gone.
one didn't drop as
it's
much.
still going down, but it's not going down very much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, they're all going down, they're just not.
They're not going down as much, and then that's 1990 to 94. So 0 to 10, absolutely
None.
none. Hold on.
Oh, look at that. No, go back, go back, go back. See all those black states down at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bible Belt USA, baby.
Okay. So average teen birth rate. So 0 to 10 is this really, really light area. Nothing. It's starting to.
I got a couple.
In 2005, 2009 is when the internet started to take off.
So our states are lightening up, but we're still. There we go.
2015 to 2000. Look at how many are now that are 10.
It's because it's too damn cold in those states.
Explain
9 months
New
out of the
York.
freaking. Well, I got nothing for New York. It's New York. What do you want?
I find it interesting that the average teen birth rate is going I mean, maybe that's because of, like, the increase of sex ed and contraceptives.
No. 2009, 2005, 2009, the internet started to blow up. 2010 to 2014 is when the internet really started to blow up. Now, every 6-year-old has a computer in their pocket.
So wouldn't you think that teen pregnancy would go up with access to the internet?
Well, yeah.
Or is it because they have access to it and they are seeing the most horrific things on the internet that they're like, I never want to have sex?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I honestly think that, yeah.
Okay, well, I have some notes.
Giving your 10 to 14, the data is obvious. Giving your 10 to 14-year-old unfiltered access to the internet,
It's criminal.
it's not good. I mean,
Okay,
that's not even it's not even just.
So I have some data.
Hold on, can somebody give me the word to this? It's not even. I keep saying distributed, but it's not. It's not even debated. There we go. Holy God, lost the word. 10 to 14 is a terrible age to give your kid unfiltered access to the internet.
Yes.
I
That's
agree.
how children get, like, abducted and shit, is because they're
Yep.
naive. Children are just naive, and, like, I think that's another thing that people have a hard time accepting, is they have a hard time accepting that their child is naive. Like, that doesn't mean that your child is stupid, that doesn't mean that your child is dumb, but your child is naive.
Yeah.
They lack experience and knowledge, so
Yes.
they
Well,
are.
that and kids want to see the best in the world anyway.
Yeah.
So you can sit there and preach to them that the world's this big scary place, but how many of
Until
us
they
have
actually
walked through
see
a
it.
grocery store and seen these kids everywhere from literally just babies that are, months old to these 5, 6-year-old toddlers that walk up to random strangers because they're kids. They're naive. My
they're trusting.
9-year-old niece still does it. She says hi to
they're
everybody. Like,
just overly trusting, right?
Yeah.
So it makes them naive because they lack the ability to make sound judgment calls, right? Or decisions. So you shouldn't leave them to have open internet access because it's just asking for problems. Like, you're asking for your child to be a victim, is what I think. Like, if you give your child unlimited access to the internet, you're asking for your child to be a victim, because that's how majority of child trafficking, sex trafficking, and pedophiles find their victims, is through the
It all
internet.
starts
Like
on the
Roblox.
internet.
Look at Roblox right now. Roblox is the hugest, like, child trafficking, pedophilia ring type stuff. Like, it's all over the place. Like, you can type in lawsuits for Roblox and you will find pages and pages and pages of the lawsuits that Roblox is fighting right now, because so many kids have been abducted due to Roblox or been exposed to stuff on Roblox, and it's supposed to be a kid friendly.
It is the digital Epstein Island.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just is, because
well, hey, if you send me a picture, I'll send you X amount of Roblox money so you can go get the whatever you need. Like,
yeah.
Kids are naive.
It's basically the creepy dude, or what we have found out in schools is it could be the women too, because there's a ton of women getting caught boinking their students. That's just going
I don't think that's
crazy
gone
right
up.
now.
I don't think that's gone up. I think that's just because of phones. It's just more exposed.
Yeah. So a little bit of my research.
Yes.
So I went all the way back to 2005. So 2005, 80% of our, and this is just in the US, okay,
Okay.
87% of sexual images online were by 14-year-olds. Like that. 87% of 14-year-olds were looking at sexual content online. And that was in 2005. Okay. As of 2025, 90% of pornography is viewed via a smartphone. Okay.
Makes
Um,
sense.
between the ages of 13 and 17, 60% boys and only 11% girls viewed pornography online or
Hmm.
sexual content online. Which I find it really interesting because in this study, 75% of parents deny that their children have been exposed to anything sexually related on the internet, right? A study done in 2023 found that 73% of all teenagers have been exposed to sexual content online. 30
I think that number is off.
I know.
I
I feel
think
like
that's
that's
what
got to be like
Well, there
100%.
so
Like,
there's only because it's a study on children. Studies on children are very hard to conduct because you have to have parent approval, right?
right.
So the study that I was reading about, it was a telephone questionnaire, right? That they would ask the parents to consent to, and the children would answer the questions over the phone, and they were only able to do a study on like 1,511 children. So it
yeah.
wasn't a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's not a
Because
lot. So, but
because
out
most
of that 1,511, 73% of them said that they had been exposed to sexual content online.
Which is so wild to me. Like, I feel like that's not, we get exposed to sexual content every single day.
Bro, I
Victoria's
cannot tell you
Secret
how many ads
commercials.
I seen on TikTok, and it's all about like uh anime porn, but it's like ads for their website or ads for their
I don't know what
application or whatever.
TikTok's what
I was
some of
about to
Bro,
these
I don't
say,
know.
apps are on,
what's wrong
but
with your algorithm? Holy
Bro,
God, Hannah.
all I watch on TikTok are videos of the burnt peanut and video games. Okay, like
Yeah,
I don't know.
if there's anybody that
But
should
it's
have
just
those things, it
ads.
should
Like
be
it's just
me.
ads that pop up. Like I get the ads for like Temu and the clothes and all the other bullshit, but like if I scroll on TikTok, we'll say 45 minutes, guaranteed I'm going to see one or two ads for some manga pornography application. I
I
don't
will
know.
tell you that I get probably a dozen text messages every day, like unsolicited, "Hey, come and look at my site." And out of the 12 to 15 I get a day on TikTok that get deleted, half of them say, "I just turned 18, come and look at my site."
Yeah, see, I don't get those. I don't get any of those.
I don't either.
I
Thank
know
God.
So it's
males get
his
that a
algorithm. His
males
algorithm is worse.
no, it's the messages, not the, I get messages on my fucking YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. Like women just send messages to it's
But it's
just fishing
probably not
for
even, I was gonna say it's probably not even a real woman behind the computer. It's probably
no.
some
Yeah.
like AI generated, hey, male between this and this age, like send them generic
Yeah.
message.
Well,
So what I
Keep
found really
going.
interesting about this real quick, okay, is out of those teenagers, 30% of them stated that they were exposed during school hours. Like they had access to this material on their school devices. Okay. Out
that's
of all those children that were in this study, 84% of them said that they had seen pornography depicting rape, choking, and someone in pain.
Oh my God.
so violent sex.
That is where I think I could see pornography leading to pregnancies going down in teenagers, because if you are a teenager and the first thing you see is a woman having sex against her will and she's in pain and she's getting choked, and you think that's what sex is because that's what you're getting exposed to, because your parents haven't had the talk with you yet, right? They haven't explained the birds and the bees, and they haven't done nothing yet, and that's
Right.
the
Yeah, that's
first
gotta be
thing you see.
terrifying.
I would probably never wanna have sex again, ever.
Yeah, I will be honest, if I think any parent that looks at their 14-year-old girl and says she's not ready to have the talk yet, you are about 2 years too late with the talk. She's already
Eh,
been with the not having sex, but with the exposure.
yeah, I'd say definitely
You are
exposure.
way late.
I think with girls, I'll be honest, like, girls I think girls kinda hold out a little bit, like, I think I would say most most girls usually tend to, like, hold out just a little bit longer than guys do. Like, I think for guys, like, it would not be you would not shock me if, like, you grouped up a bunch of 13-year-old boys and, like, majority of them said that they had already experimented with sex. But I think girls, like, if you grouped up a bunch of 13-year-old girls, I think majority of them would say that they hadn't just yet. Cause like, I know me and a bunch of, like, my girlfriends that I went to school with and stuff, like, we were all, like, 15 going on 16 by the time we started experimenting with sex.
Well, the most recent study, 2025, said that the average for losing a virginity for a female is 17.1, which is up, and for males, 17.2, and it has stayed steady for the past couple decades, which kinda
Yeah,
makes you wonder how are girls. Yeah, the girls are younger and the guys are, we're not talking much older, but we're talking like a year.
yeah. So, there's this podcast that I listen to that talks about, it's from a facility that specifically works with boys, specifically, like, children, boys between the ages of 10 to 17 who have early signs of, like, sex disorders. Like, they have a pornography addiction, they have a masturbation addiction, or they're having these issues that are early signs of, like, potential addiction issues with stuff.
Mhm.
So they have a podcast, and I was listening to it because it specifically talks about, like, boys, and it's, like, the only thing I have found where it talks about the sex stuff in conjunction with autism, just because autism affects the brain differently, especially when it comes to stuff like this. And they conducted a study uh, out of the facility with, like, the group of kids that they get there, again, ranging from 10 to 17. Okay. The most common for children to be exposed to any type of sexual content used to be about 13, 13.5 is when they were most commonly being exposed to some type of sexual content. This, facilities study of their group of boys, granted, I don't know how many were there, okay, or how many they did a study on, but they're saying that the current age for sexual content exposure is estimated to be as early as 8 years old.
Makes
That is when your
sense.
child will first be exposed to any type of sexual content is 8 years old.
Well, it's hard because most when you're doing these surveys, and I think these surveys need to be a lot more because this is a subject that is really touchy for most parents, but they want to know the facts. They want to know the statistics. I don't know a parent in the world that would not want to know the statistics on this to know when to, address their teenage child or young child. The problem is when they call the parents to do these, no parent wants to let their kids be exposed to this. Well, how do you get the statistics? And most parents want to be sitting there listening to them. Just so you know, parents, no teenager, no, I would not even teenager, no 10 to 18-year-old child is going to tell the truth if you're standing right next to them with their
Yeah.
when they're talking on the phone. They're going to be like,
Yeah,
"Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's like when you take your when moms take their daughters to the OBGYN for, like, a refill on their birth control or whatever the case may be, right?
yeah."
And the doctor always has to ask, "Are you sexually active?" But
In
mom
front
is
of them.
standing right there in the room, so they're always like, nope,
Yeah,
nope.
you're not going to get.
You're not gonna get an honest answer."
You need to, I'm sorry that you feel this way and you think that you're protecting your child, but your child's lying. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a teenage boy. Trust me, your girls are having sex, and they're not getting
Even if
raped.
they're even if they're not having sex, they're definitely in that, "Let's see how far I'm
That
willing to
mindset.
go." Yeah, I mean, but I would say that I would even say that it starts younger for girls just because girls, we experiment on each other. We experiment on our girlfriends. Like, we do the kissing and the touching and the okay, well, me and my girlfriends did. So,
You must have hung out with the weird group because all my group of friends that I'm like, one of them, like, I mean, we're still friends to this day. Like, we've been friends for, fuck, we'll be 32 this year. We've been best friends since for 32 years. We never did that shit. Like, all the little girls that we used to hang out with, we never did that shit. We were out running around in the desert with our little red wagon, picking up weird treasures and
Whoa, whoa,
bringing them
at what
back.
age? At what age?
But you're talking elementary to middle school, like,
You're saying at 13, you never kissed a girl?
mm-mm.
At what age should you kiss somebody?
Uh, freshman year? I didn't date people.
That's 13, girl.
That's
Oh, no,
he's
14.
14.
but
That's
still, that's
14.
not that far off.
No.
She's not
But,
talking
like,
about 9-year-old girls.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, my group of girlfriends that I hung out with, we weren't doing that stuff. We weren't doing none of that stuff. I mean, like, so one of my best girlfriends that I grew up with, right? Her mom and my mom went to school together. We literally her mom was my second mom, okay? Um, her parents had built her this, like, big playhouse. Like, it was an actual, like, one-bedroom shack type thing, but it was big enough that we could stand, and they decked it out like a house or whatever, and it was our playhouse. And I kid you not, I'm talking, like, middle school still, like, we were running around in the fucking desert, picking shit up and throwing the shit in the fucking playhouse, like, that's middle school, or we were all heavily involved in sports and 4-H, and, like, we were
Okay,
really big into, like,
okay.
hunting and archery and
We
stuff, like, we were not
we need to start saying ages because I'm sorry that when you say middle school, you're thinking of a little girl. And
no.
according to the here's the problem. When you say middle school, most adults with daughters are thinking little girl with pigtails.
No, middle school is 10 to 13.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is the thought of, oh, my daughter doesn't think about sex at all in middle school
Okay,
because
do you want us to say junior high then?
no, well,
He wants to say age. Okay, so 10 to 13.
age 10 to 13. And according to the few statistics that are out there, you may not have been exposed to it, but right now these girls are getting exposed to it. And I can
Yeah.
guarantee you the guys are too, because
But I think this is the thing too, though, okay? Like, yes, we have more, like, readily available access, right? But I remember the Victoria's Secret commercials in the middle of the day. I
Mhm.
remember the Victoria's Secret, runway shows that were on every friggin' channel.
Yeah, or even some of
Like,
the makeup commercials had, like, half naked women.
yeah, so I don't think that we've necessarily gotten more exposure, there's just more avenues to be exposed. Does that make sense?
I would say that access
Yeah,
to that exposure has changed, right? Because, like,
yeah.
being little, like, yeah, sure, you saw it on the TV, but it wasn't anything, like, crazy, right? Like, I mean, I can remember being little and walking through Walmart and seeing, like, Sports Illustrated calendars and magazines, okay? And my dad, uh, the group of guys that he was friends with, they were all, like, grease monkey, like, dudes that, like, worked on fucking cars and shit. So you went into any of their little auto shops or any of their little garages, what was most likely hanging on the wall?
oh,
Half naked photo.
Half naked
if not,
girls.
if not a full naked, but
Yeah,
yes.
if not a full naked, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say the we're less I can't even say less exposed because I think now children are way more exposed, like, right? Like, that exposure of, like, Sports Illustrated or, like, the posters on the wall at these dudes' shops and stuff, that's not the same as what you could potentially be exposed to
No.
online. It's
The
way different.
Oh, yeah, because the number one photo that I will tell you in the '80s, the number one place you would get naked, not naked, but underwear and panties that most boys would get would be the Sears catalog.
Yep.
That was our famous that was when the Sears catalog came, all the boys ran, and we're not looking up fucking Craftsman tools, guys. Like, we all know what we were looking at. I mean, we're going straight to the clothing, to the girls section, and seeing the girls in panties and bras and stuff like that. And the scary I mean, this is our society. What age do you think is the best or the average age? I'm trying to find a way to word this. The average age for models in magazines that guys look at and women look at and clothing and
15,
r
16?
runway models, like
15,
professional
16?
we're getting paid 250,000 a year,
Yeah, I'd
runway
say as
model.
early as 14, as late as probably 17.
16 to 21,
Yeah.
with the height of modeling being at 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all your magazines that have your bikinis and you think the girls are so hot, just so you know,
They're probably underage.
they're 16, 17-year-olds because that's the best age to get a model.
Mhm.
Turn down my phone. So, obviously those girls and we've all heard about what's going on in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a teenage girl in Hollywood, maybe not so much today because it's been exposed so much, but the history of Hollywood, all the way from The Wizard of Oz in 1940s,
Yeah.
all the way up until recently, you were meeting a producer at 1 in the morning at his home.
Can we shift gears just real quick, little side note? So I know that we have all discussed this Jim Carrey shenanigans. Do we have any theories on
This is not a shifting. No, we have to stay on topic. We cannot go into the Jim Carrey
Okay, we
conspiracy
get we
theory.
get we get to answer what we think it is, and then we'll move on. I think
Okay,
it's just
it's
a
fake.
botched. I think it's a botched job. I think he just got a botched plastic surgery job.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's
And Damian thinks it's fake.
it's his double. It doesn't even sound like him.
What do you mean it's his double?
His like stunt double or
It's
whatever.
his stun double. It doesn't even sound like him. And his eyes have changed. Like it's not him. Maybe he was sick and he sent his double to go accept the award for him. I don't know. Don't care. Don't care. It is not something that's been on my radar. If you want to know about that, look up Jim Carrey on TikTok, guys, and you'll see all the fucking conspiracy theories. You know, if we're gonna go off subject, I mean, I don't know when this
No, I
video
was just curious because you said
when this
Hollywood.
video
So
when this video is gonna get released, but right now, today, apparently we won the Iran war. Like, there's all kinds of shit going on. And we've decided not to do as much news because, you know, since this gets released late, we would have to, like, all stop our lives and jump on to do news and to do it live because by the time Monday comes,
we're late.
yeah, we're late. Trump has already kidnapped one president, kicked the ass out of another country. Like, so much shit goes on in a week in this administration that there's no way we would live on this site live 24/7.
Yeah.
So,
It'd be rough.
anyways, it would be rough. So, this
So in
is
conclusion, your children are getting exposed, and it's up to parents to decide how early they get exposed and if they prevent that exposure or if they kind of guide them down the path of the type of exposure.
do you think
Right,
it's
so
too
that's
young to discuss the birds and the bees? We're talking no holds bars, you know, penis goes in vagina to a 10-year-old girl or a boy.
No,
no.
I think that's probably right, especially with today.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you wait until they're 12, 13, 14, you're already too late. For
Yeah, they've
one
already
thing,
seen
let's be
something.
honest.
They've been
Right.
exposed to something.
Let's be honest. Every single friend group in 5th, 6th grade has that one friend that is already starting to do a little something, something. And so they come to school because
And they talk about it.
yeah. I had a friend
Or
like that.
okay,
She'd come
another
to
thing
school
that
and tell us that her jaw was sore because she just spent the whole weekend with her boyfriend's dick in her mouth. Like,
How old was she?
this was 6th grade, so we were like 12,
12?
11,
Yeah, yeah,
12.
11, 12.
I mean, I'm pretty open about this, but I lost my virginity at 13, and she was 13. We were both 13. We had no idea what we were doing, but
According to Damian, I'm still a virgin, so I've never lost mine.
nope, nope, lesbians can't have sex. Um,
The real Virgin Mary over here.
oh, you just lost all your sound, girl.
What?
Yeah, you got quiet real quick.
No, I didn't.
Now that's better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the real Virgin Mary.
Yeah. I will tell you that, okay, everybody knows the magazine 17, right? The girls' magazine, it's called 17.
Sure.
No.
It's the Cosmo for teenage girls.
Okay.
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 I'll believe you.
This bothers me a little bit, and it's their first paragraph in the whole when you losing your virginity. And this does kind of bother me that
They
they
did like
worded it
a
this way.
story on it? Like
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, they did an average age. What bothers me the most is this first sentence.
first things first, there is no right or wrong age to lose your virginity. The only factors that matter when it comes to having sex for the first time is that both you and your partner are ready. You both have time. Whoop. You both have consented and you're using protection. And while what you see on TV and in the movies might tell you otherwise, everyone's first time is very different. You might see fireworks or feel nervous.
So the problem that I have with that is there is no right or wrong age. If you're if
I
you're 10,
disagree.
if you're 10 or
Very
11,
much disagree.
that is the wrong age.
Yeah, I disagree.
And this is
I
a
definitely think there
magazine.
is a like that's I feel like this type of content that is like that tells children like, oh, there's no right or wrong age, like everybody is different. I feel like because they're learning that there's no right or wrong age for sex, right? Like it's just promoting this pedophilia mindset, right? Like that's where it leads me to thinking of like there's no right or wrong age for sex. Like you could be 10 and having sex and it's okay.
As long as
Yeah.
you give consent, as long first of all, 10-year-old, I don't think even a 12-year-old can give consent.
I don't think children have bodily autonomy. So
Right. Yeah, that's your personal opinion. But I do not think a 12-year-old understands the concept of
consent.
But it's
Like-
not even that, right? So it's not, for me, it's not even, let's just take the whole consent conversation out of it, right? A 12-year-old is not genuinely going to understand I don't want to say life altering, but essentially this life altering decision that they're making, right? They look at it and they're like, oh, it's just this fun thing that adults do and whatever, right? They're not looking at, okay, there's a potential of 10 years old to get pregnant. There's that potential of, okay, now I'm going to miss school. I'm going to have this human, right? Is my body ready for that? Am I ready for that? There's so many other things that go into it. If you even just take just the consent conversation out of it, obviously you should always have consent. Always, always, always. We're just going to stress that. But there's so many other things that go into having sex.
So I see where you're going with that. Yeah. I also look at like sex is not only for creating babies, right? We all know this, right? Because sex has a intimacy, emotional, physical connection for both parties, right? At 10 years old, okay, obviously at 10 years old, they're not thinking about, oh, she could get pregnant, right?
Right.
Also, what little boy at 10 years old is producing sperm?
I'm just saying though, like just kind of in general, just
so like I think about like the pleasure aspect of, yes, they don't understand like the consequences of sex or the added that comes to it, right? But they have zero way of being able to mentally process the pleasure aspect of sex. Sex is not supposed to be disgusting. Sex is not supposed to be painful unless you're into slight pain during sex. Okay, cool. But it's not supposed to be like excruciatingly painful to where you're in tears. It's not supposed to be scary. It's not supposed to be something that makes you ashamed or feel guilty or feel less, right?
Right. And all of these
So they
emotions are
have
things that 10-year-olds can't process.
yeah, they can't process any of
Yeah.
that, right? So at 10 years old, this boy and this little girl, they go and they have sex and do whatever, right? Like one, that little boy is now for the rest of his life gonna think that whatever him and that little girl did, that is sex now. Dude didn't even ejaculate. So now
Yeah.
he later in life, when he is ejaculating and he has sex again, what if that causes him to be ashamed of himself because it feels different than the first time he had sex,
Yeah.
right? And it causes him guilt. Or that little girl has a horrific experience because she's also not experiencing the full potentials of sex.
Which
So
she
now
probably will.
she, for the rest of her life, is like, if that's what sex is, I want no part in it.
Yeah.
That little boy was touching my
Yeah.
left lip. Like,
You know,
you know
whatever.
what I'm saying? Like, there's just so much to it. Like, taking the physicalness of it out of it, the emotions and the mental capacity that
Yeah.
sex has all encompassing,
Yeah.
they are not able to process any of that.
I
Any
can
of
hear
it.
I can hear tons of parents screaming right now, and what they're going to be saying, and I'd like both your opinions on this, is if you talk to them about it, and this was a big argument when I was a kid, if you talk to them about it, it'll make them curious. So if you talk to an 11-year-old little boy or little girl about sex, it's going to make them more curious than if you hid it. I disagree with this comment. Kids are going to be curious no matter what. Now they're curious without any information.
Yeah, I think regardless, they're gonna be curious. Like, they see something on it like, okay, we were all watched movies with our parents, okay, and there was a man and a woman making out, and maybe it led to a little bit more, and parents knew where it was going. Cover your eyes. Cover your
Yep.
eyes. We were
Yes.
all doing the
Yep. Yeah, the double
we all
the,
did it.
the
We're
double
all
watching.
guilty. We're all guilty. We are humans are curious in nature, and especially children, they are very
Mhm.
curious. Why? Because they are fucking naive. They don't know anything. So they're curious about everything.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, they might become more curious, but lead them down the right path of curiosity. I don't believe in shaming sex. Like, I don't go around telling my children, you can't have sex. You can't have sex. I tell them, hey, you're going to do what you want to do, but know that there are consequences to sex. Sex is supposed to be between adults because there's things like pregnancy, there's things like STDs, there's things like STIs, HIV, AIDS, all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, there's all these things that have very severe consequences of children, teenagers,
Right.
whatever, having
That, and
sex.
I think too, like, so obviously, I don't think having the conversation with your kids is going to make them more curious. However, if that is the kind of end result of it, I think that I would rather have my kid be more curious and be comfortable enough to come to me and be like, "Hey mom, I heard this today in school. What does that mean?" Instead of them going to their buddy down the hallway, and then you end up with a Damian situation where his best friends convinced him that
No, not
a
me. Didn't
vagina
convince me. I convinced them.
Damian convinced an entire grade that a vagina on a
Black
woman of
woman.
color
Black woman. We're
was
not doing that.
sideways. Like, my little sister had a kid, a teenage boy, convinced that he was going to have his period. He was going to get a period and he was going to bleed out of his penis for like a good few months. So
Children are naive.
I would rather have it be something where my kid feels comfortable enough to come to me at the end of the day and say, "Hey mom, hey dad, I need to sit down and talk to you. I heard this at school. Don't really know what it means. Why is this the conversation? Why did this happen? You know, why
Right.
was
And
this being said?"
that's when you get to lead that conversation in the correct manner.
Right.
Right. Like, so we're going through this with my youngest. where we are starting to have conversations because things have popped up at school that have gotten him in some trouble. And it simply is because he hears stuff at school and he's curious. So
Yeah.
he's been
Yeah.
divulging in that curiosity, right? So we get to lead it in the right path of true biology and true anatomy, right? Of
Yep.
how things intricately work so that that way they have the correct information, right? If you don't give your children the correct information, they're going to get that information. And when they get it, you don't get to control the dialogue.
How accurate it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to control the narrative.
Mom,
So if
dad,
if you tell a little boy, you tell your son, "Oh, if you have sex, your penis will fall off."
or it's a sin for you religious fuckers
Yeah,
out
or it's
there.
a sin. You tell your son, "Don't have sex or your penis will fall off." He's gonna go convince all these little boys that if they have sex, their penises are gonna fall off. And then guess what happens when they do have sex and it doesn't fall off?
Well, now my
Eh,
parents are liars.
yeah, now my parents are liars and they don't believe anything. I am sorry, mom and dads. I know it's embarrassing that your 13 or 14-year-old little boy or little girl, and it's always worse for little girls for some reason. Yes, it's sexist, but little girls have it worse than little boys. If
I
your
think we're
little
just
boy,
protected more. I think that's why.
yeah, if your little girl or little boy walks up to you and asks you the most horrific thing at 13, first of all, you should it's embarrassing, yes, but you should be thankful that they walked up to you and was able to say the most embarrassing thing possible and wanting an answer. And to look at them and say, "Oh, you're not ready for that. Just go away. Don't even think about
Yeah,
that."
you get 2 paths. You get 2 paths when it comes to the sex talk and children, and that path is you guide them and you do it hopefully at an age before they start getting exposed
Yep.
so that when they go to school and they hear about all this random shit, they know
Yep.
because they've had the talks. Oh, that shit's so
Yeah.
fake. Like, these guys are stupid as fuck. Or you
Yeah.
get the path where they've been exposed to stuff and then they come to you and they ask you, you know, what's pterodactyl porn, mom? The boys and I have been talking about it at school. What is that? What's bukkake?
Yeah.
Like, they're just gonna come to you and they're gonna come up with these. And for adults that don't know what bukkake is,
You need to look it up. You're
you
way
need to look it
behind.
up. Okay. Like they're just gonna come to you with these wild, outrageous stuff. And then when you as a parent, if you don't know what it is, when you go search it up, you're gonna be like, my child
So
is a
Yeah.
menace.
that and like I think probably honestly, I think the best advice that I'd ever heard came from a parent. And they had teenage kids, and they literally said, like, "We talk openly about sex in our house because then it kind of it takes that taboo out of it a little bit. And so it's not this forbidden thing that they have to go and do behind her back. I would rather have my daughter come to me and be like, "Hey, mom, I think I'm ready to have sex. I would like to be on birth control." And literally just know that my kids are, "Hey, dad, I'm ready to have sex. I'd like to buy some condoms. Can you please take me?"
Or
I
or
would
or
rather have that than have my
yeah.
kids go behind my back, feel guilty about it, or my daughter have the worst experience ever
Yeah.
and come home and be a mess and not feel like they can talk to me. Parents have to stop looking at their kids as these innocent little things. We were all fucking teenagers at one point in time.
Mhm.
We all
Yes.
know the dirty, grimy little thoughts that go through our heads. We know that there's a boy that walks by your daughter at school and she goes, "Damn, that's a tree I'd like to climb," or "That's a booty that I want to be on." Like, we know these are all things that all of us at one point in time thought or had these feelings. Stop pretending like you're above it.
Yeah.
Parents need to remember that they were kids once too and stop with the "we're old, we're boring." Okay, but you were a
Or
kid once.
you're too young for that. But if your 14-year-old daughter
Yeah.
hears about blowjob, if she's at school and make no mistake, girls do talk about some of this shit. If she comes
All of
to
it.
you, yeah, if she comes to you at 14 years
Girls
old and
talk in the locker room just as much as boys do.
yes, if she comes to you and says, "Hey, I heard one of my friends say that she put, her boyfriend's, thingy down there in her mouth. What is that?" Instead of looking at her and go, "Don't even think about that," because now she's gonna get her answer. You just made it to where she knows,
She's
"Well, I
gonna get
can't
it
go to
from somebody
mom.
else.
I can't go to mom now, or I can't go to dad." Because dad looks at it like the thought of his 14-year-old daughter on her knees is just way too much for him. She just instantly learned, "Well, I can't go to my parents now." Now
So
she
Now
here's
could
the
she's
other
gonna
thing
go to
too.
her girlfriends, and her girlfriends are gonna teach her all the tricks. They're gonna show her that salt and pepper shaker method, and then they're gonna
uh-huh.
go, "Girl, have you seen the grapefruit trend?"
You gotta hack to
Yeah.
it on that thing.
You got Haktua on that thing.
Th
They gonna bro, she gonna go down the path, and then next thing before you know it, your daughter done sucked off
I
20
will
dicks.
tell you right now, some of the when the Haktua thing came out, I was on a different, route or a different shift, but the kids getting off the bus that I would get them off the bus as a security guard, one of the kids, younger than you would think, the Haktua thing was already down to them. They had no idea what they were talking about, but they
Yeah.
were saying it.
Yeah, they
And
had
they
no
were
idea what it meant, but they were
and
talking about it.
and I was like, "Do you guys have any idea what you guys are saying?" And they're like, "No, what?" Now they're asking a stranger
Yeah, no.
that's not their father
You need to go home and
what
talk to your
this
parents.
is. You need to go ask your parents. And I'm kind of curious how many of those kids went to him and went, "What was this girl talking about when she said you got a Haktua on that thing?" And the parents, because these kids were around 12 or 13. So they're already exposed to it. Now they go ask their parents, and I guarantee you all their parents were like, don't repeat that. That's gross.
It's inappropriate, it's caca.
It's
I
inappropriate."
think the old school age of teaching that sex is so taboo, it's shameful. I think we all
Stupid.
fucking do it. Dude, all you're gonna do is teach your children that sex is a no-no conversation. We don't talk about it. So they're never going to talk about it. If they can't talk about it with you or even attempt to talk about it with you, they're
They're
never
gonna get
going to
answers
talk
from somewhere.
about it. One, they're not gonna they're gonna get their answers, yes, but two, what are they gonna do when they have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a wife or a husband? And they've been taught for their entire life that you don't talk about sex.
Yeah.
Now you've
Yeah.
just created adults that don't talk about it.
So, yeah. So the average age, guys, of kids being exposed, according to all the data, is 10 to 14. That is
As early as 8.
as early as 8. That's rare. But at 10 years old, if you haven't started to okay, we need to start thinking
Birds
about
and the bees. Birds and the bees,
sitting our
baby.
kids down and start talking about this and tell them if there's anything we don't cover, if you hear anything at school, if you hear anything from your friends, if no matter how embarrassing it is, come and ask and we will lay it out. We will be like, this is it.
And
And
please, please, for the love of God, teach your children anatomically correct names.
Yeah.
For the love
yeah,
of God.
it's not a clam.
Yeah.
There was a story actually. The parent is pushing for that because her little girl went to school and told the teacher that her uncle had licked her cookie. And the teacher was like, "Oh, you just get another cookie. It's not a big deal." And for like a week straight. And then they found out that the uncle was
Molesting her.
Because
Mhm.
cookie, for if you have a little girl that comes to you and says cookie, you're not thinking the
Coochie.
vajayjay.
Yeah, you're not thinking worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Especially if the uncle or whoever the other person
Whatever, yeah.
is well known in the family. He or she
Yeah.
is well liked.
Yeah. No, I'm down. I did see a lady on TikTok and she teaches her daughter anatomically correct, but when they want to talk about it, they use different words. So like her daughter was like elementary little. I'm talking like second, third grade maybe. So she would refer to her vagina as a butterfly.
Okay, but
It's
she
the
knew the
butterfly.
word.
Right. And mom would say, and this was on TikTok, and she would say, what do if someone is touching our butterfly, what does that mean? And she goes, that means that somebody's touching my vagina. And she was like, right. So if someone's touching our butterfly, what do you come and say to an adult? And she'd be like, someone's touching my vagina. And I was so like they used it to where
Yeah.
they
That makes
had like a
sense.
word for it, but she knew what it meant.
Just regular conversation to take that stress off, but like
Yeah.
real life emergency situation, we use the right word.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I can get behind. That I
Mhm.
completely get behind. I think if your kids can have that conversation of, "Hey, mom, I know we had the birds and the bees conversation, but I want to talk to you about sex specifically." And they can use those words, then they're ready for the full conversation, right? They're ready for that full kind of in-depth, "Hey, you might like this, you might not like that, blah, blah, blah." But yeah, I agree that I think the younger that we teach them the anatomical correct names, the safer it is, because they need to know that in a situation where somebody is touching them where they should not be touched, they can go to an adult and say, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so is touching my vagina," and it's not okay.
And if it ever goes to court, anatomically correct words don't get thrown out.
Are important. Yep.
You go in there talking about your butterfly or cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lawyer's going to eat that up. All right.
Yeah.
So, comment, like,
final thoughts.
Final thought: talk to your kids openly and stop telling them to go away. And I'm talking to you all. I'm a religious guy. All you fucking religious people that just tell your kids that it's a sin and go away, stop fucking doing that.
Oh, they're sinning. Oh, they're sinning.
They're sinning. Trust me.
And they're definitely repenting on Sunday.
They might not even be repenting. They might be thinking about the next, like, ooh, when I get out of church.
They're doing 5 Hail Marys on Sunday.
When I'm getting out of church, I got some.
Yeah.
Have the open and honest conversations with your kids. Be vigilant.
Do it or the internet will do it for you.
Yep.
All
exactly.
right. Thanks for the conversation. See you next week.
Comment, share.
Tell your
Spotify,
family.
we're on everything. So
tell your dog I said hi.
Tell your cat I said psst.
All right. Bye, guys.